Okay, today we'll be completing the C++ concepts. So only uh, two concepts are left out. One is what is the use of structure. So now we will study what is the use of structure, which is a C concept, and after that objects and functions. So these two things we will study in today's class. So this will conclude the concepts related to C++. So then from tomorrow onwards, we will start with Java. So first thing is, you would have studied um, the structure in C++, not in C, in CCP. In CCP, you would have studied the structure concept. So I'll not be talking about the declaration and all. So that is all those things and even you would have studied in data structure also. The first module is regarding the structure only. So now uh, we'll be talking about what is the need for structure. So here we will be talking about the need for the structure. So see, need for the structure. Why we need structure means, see, for example, I want to store date. For example, I want to store date. So date can be represented by day, month, year. So I want to store a variable called date. So date is a single variable, but that date can be represented through a combination of three variables. Here, the value of date depends on month, and the month will decide, the value of month will decide year. Meaning, so if the date is 31, if the date is 31, so if I change it to 1, if I write a function which will increment the day, so obviously the month will change. So the month is 7. So if I write 31/7, and if I change the day, so this will become 1, this will become 8. Similarly, if the month is 12, if the month is 12 and the day is 31, if I make it as 1, if I call this, if I increase the date, it will become 1. Again, the month will become 1, and also the year will change. If it is 2020 minutes, it will become 2021. So that is the one thing. So there are cases where the value of one variable depends on the values of another variable. So this is our example. So for example, date. So there is no data structure in C where you can represent this date variable in a single term. You cannot represent it in a single variable. So now the date is represented by three different parameters. So the date is represented by, you can in C you can represent it programmatically. In programmatically you can represent C by three different variables: date, month, year. So what is D means? D will be the day of the month, M will be the month, and Y will be the year. So three integers for representing a single date. Um, so now when you talk about those three integers individually, it doesn't have meaning, but when you combine them, it will get the meaning of, like, it will be used to do the store the functions. So these three variables, see, these three variables are not grouped here. So they have declared these three variables. These three variables are not these three variables are see, when you individually call, when you individually refer to D, it will just be an integer. When you individually refer to M, it is an month. So it is a month it is an M which belongs to integer data type. So when you combine these three variables, you will get the date. So so whenever you are considering it individually, you will not get the meaning. But when you are grouping that, you will get some um, what do we call? You will get some value. So um, for example, so three variables are there: date, month, year. So the value of one variable will influence the value of another variable. D will influence the value of m, m can influence the value of y. So for example, three variables are there. So I will write a function called, next day. I'll write a function called next day. So what this function will do means it will return me the next day. So for this, whatever input I give, for that it will add 1 to the d variable. So I'll just pass the parameters. I'll just pass this. This is for d, this is for m. So yeah, I'm passing, this is for m, and the last one is for y. So what this function will do means it will calculate the next date. It will calculate the next date. So now let us check. So this is just the function prototype. So inside this, you can write the logic. Inside this, you can write the logic to change or to calculate next date or next date, which is nothing but the next day. For example, we'll talk about example. If D is 1, month is 1, and year is 2019. So date is 1, month is 1, year is 2019. So if I call this next day function, if I call this next day function, and if I pass day, month, and year, so what will be the output? So if I write like this, the output will be the next day. D is equal to 1 means D will be 2, D will be 2, month will be 1, year will be 2019. One scenario. So if date is 1, no, we'll consider another scenario. Date is 28, date is 28, month is the February month, and year will be so year which is not leap year, no, 2018. So we'll take it as 2018. So now if I call next day, if I call next day function, if I call next day function, what will be the output? The output will be date is 28. No, February will have only 28 days. So D will become 1, month will change to 3, and year will be 2018. So the second example. So now we'll check an example to change the year also. An example to change the year also. So month date should be 31, month should be 12, and year let it be 2019. So if I call next day function, what it is fetching me means it is date will become 1, month will become 1, and year will become 2020. One second. Month will become 2020. So sorry, the year will become 2020. The day will get changed to the next day. Month will from December it will become January, and year from 2019 to 2020. So now we know what is the implementation of this next day function. So given the date and calling this next day, it will give us the next day for the input which we have given. So it is calculating the next day. So three cases we have studied, three cases also, where one thing we were only changing the day value. In the second case we were changing the month value. In the third case we were changing the year value. So what is the problem with this approach? So see, even though you are getting the right answers, there are some limitations in this. See, you know that. mm, D. You can see that D, M, Y will belong to the date group. D, Y, M means it is belonging to date group. It is belonging to date group. So the change in one value will affect the value of other two. But but programmatically, you cannot place them in the same group. Like there is no language, so there is no language support which can place these three variables in the same group. So for that you can we'll just check an example. So we'll just check an example because you can interchange these values also. You can interchange this values. See, this function will only accept the parameters of integer type. So these three belongs to a same group, but there is no support from the language to place them in the same group. For example, we just assume d1 is equal to 28, m1 is equal to February, and y1 is equal to some 2018. So again, d2 is equal to some 25, and m2 is equal to 3, and y2 is equal to some 2018. So now these are the dates. Okay, this is 28 to 2018. This is 25 3 2018. But when I'm calling this next day function, I can interchange this. For example, see, if I write d1 m1 y1, it is correct. But what if I write? But what if I write? What if I write d1 m2 y2? I'm just see this date. See this, I'm not writing, and for the second group, I'm calling d2. So you can see that. So there is no support from the language to prevent this. There is no support from the language to prevent this. Actually, it should be d1 m1 y1. It should be d2 m2 y2. But by mistake, by accidentally, instead of writing d2, I will write d1. So as a programmer, it is wrong. But there is no there is no support in the language which will prevent this from happening. Meaning, you are passing a wrong set of variable. You are passing a wrong set of variable to the function. So this is the one drawback. This is the one drawback. If you're representing these three variables as integer, this is the one drawback. And also instead of representing, so now what you will think that instead of representing this like integers, you'll try to represent it in terms of um, date thing. You'll try to represent it in terms of array. You'll try to represent, instead of representing these three variables d m y uh, individually, you'll try to create an array of integer with the name date, where date of 0 will take the d value, which is 28 in our example, and date of 1 will take the month value, which is 2, and date of 2 will take the year value, which is 2018. So which is 2018. So now you are trying to represent this in terms of array, and also you'll write a function. Also you'll write a function called next day, which will read this array, it will read this array. It can be like next underscore day of date, because date contains these three parameters. So now what it will happen means, now if I write like this, now I'm considering these three parameters as an array, and I'm also modifying this next day function, and I'm calling this function date. So now if I call this function, so date of 0, so the date of 0 will become 1, and date of 1 will become 3, and date of 2 will become 2019. It will become 2019. So even though what I'm doing means, I'm just changing the data type. Um, I'm changing the data type. But here also, one even you will feel that this method will work. Here, what you're thinking, since I am grouped it under the array called date, although you feel that this method will work, but it is not convincing. Why it is not convincing? Because here always you have to pass the integer data type. Always you have to pass the integer data type, because um, because the array, you know that array will only contain elements of same type. So the solution will fail if the elements are of different data type. Like if the variables are of different data type, this solution will not work. So how to do that, how to overcome this, means how to overcome this drawback, means that is where the struct will come into place. That is where the structure will come. And also we, you know that there is no data type, there is no data type called date. There is no data type called date. You have data type like integer, float, double, character, like that. You have data type, but there is no data type called date. So that's why this method will fail. So in order to have a solution, in order to overcome this problem, we can create a data type called, we can create a data type called date. We can create a data type called date. We can create a data type, we can create a data type called date by using structures. So using structure, you can create a data type called date. And also you know that structure will support elements of different data type also. So you can create your own customized data type called struct name, then the variables. So so like this you can create your own data type using struct keyword. So after this, even you can modify this, modify the next underscore day function. It is taking the struct parameter. So struct parameter. After this, it will change the day. So now how to represent this? How example can be like struct date d. So now d is a, no, I will take it as d1 because here also I declared d1. So here d1. So d1 is a data, d1 is a variable of type struct date. So it is similar to writing integer a. So a is a variable of type int. d1 is a variable of type struct date. So that is the only thing. You just remember that what is this d1 means. D1 is a variable of type struct date. So you can access three values by using dot notation. Struct name dot d, I can give it as 28. Struct name dot month, I can give it as 2. And d1 dot y, I can give it as 2018. So after this, if I call the next day function, so what I should pass, I should pass the structure name. The structure name is d1. It's a pass by reference. So if I call this, the output will be day will become 1 3 2018. So that will be the output. Here it should be 2018. While explaining, I would have copied wrong thing. 2018 only the day will change. So 1 3 2018. So mm, here one thing is, you cannot send. So in this case you are sending d1 and d2. Now you are mixing the dates, but here you cannot do that because you have already grouped the members, and also members of the same type can be accessed. You cannot pass d2 dot d like that. You cannot pass here. So this is the usage, this is the usefulness of structure. So mm, since the function is taking the address of the entire structure as a parameter, since it is taking the address of the entire structure variable as a parameter, so you cannot you cannot do the mix up. So you cannot do the mix up, like no chance of mixing the variables to that function is possible. So So you can use structure to put variables which can be together. So this is the usage. So this is the usage of struct. And also struct can be used to create new data types. Application programs and other programs can use this data type. So this is the usage, or this is the need for structure. Why you need structure means to create your own data type, which can be used by library programmers, application programmers. Any doubt here? Any doubt here? Any doubt? Yes or no? Understood? Did you understand why we are using this struct? See, one thing is, I'll just revise whatever we spoke. No, we'll just revise. See, 1 second. I'll just discard this. That will be easy. See, one thing is, initially we called it as date, month, year. But after this, I was calling the next day function. So the problem with this approach was I was passing date, I was passing month, and I was passing year. The problem with this approach was if there are two variables like D1, M1, Y1, D2, M2, Y2, I can do the mix-up operation. Instead of D1, M1, Y1, I can pass it like D1, M2, address of M2, address of Y2, means inside the next day function. So this was the disadvantage. So to prevent this thing, we came up with arrays. We came up with arrays. So instead of storing it in three separate variables, we created an array where date of 0 contained the day value, date of 1 which contained the month value, and date of 2 contained the year value. And then uh, we were passing for the next day we're passing the date as the parameter. But this parameter, this solution would have failed. This solution would have failed if the variables were of different data type. So in order to, this would have failed, and also this array doesn't create customized data type. So in order to create our own custom data type, in order to group these values together, we can use structure. We can use structure which will which will group elements of same type, elements of different data type, and also it can create our own data type. And also you cannot do the mix of operation because we'll be passing the address of the entire structure. So that is the usage of this usefulness of struct. So this is what we discussed till now. Any doubts here? Any doubts? Any doubts? Yes
No,
or
sir.
no? Okay. So now this is the last concept. This is the last concept in um, C++. So till now we have studied. See, till now for the objects and functions means. See, till now we were passing for a class for a class. Uh, See, till now for a class. So you know a class can contain variables. A class can contain um, functions also. But for the functions till now we were passing only the data types, the basic data types. But even you can pass objects as a parameter for the class also. So it is not that you can only pass the primitive data types as a parameter to the functions inside a class. Even you can pass objects as a parameter to the functions inside the class. For example, for example, class demo. So some public. mm, integer x comma y, and also some function called void sum. So till now, for this function, we used to pass only uh, the data types, only the basic data types as parameter. Instead of passing uh, the function with the basic data types, even you can pass the objects, even you can pass the objects of the class also. You can pass demo d1, demo d2. So where d1 and d2 are objects of the class demo. So the objects can be passed as an argument to the functions. So this is the first thing. You can pass by value. So if you are writing like this, it is passed by value. If you are using the ampersand, it is passed by reference. So the two ways of passing, either you can pass the object as a pass by value or pass by reference. So whenever you are passing, what is the difference between this pass by value and pass by reference means the same thing which you have studied in pointer. So whenever the object is passed as a parameter, that is by the pass by value method, then the copy of the object, see, then the copy of the actual object will be created inside this function. So but in the other case, in the other case uh, in the other case, the address will be passed. That is like only one copy will be um, shared. One copy will be shared. So one example you would have studied in CCP, like if a pointer will be there, you'll be using the pointer to swap to swap two variables. So that example you would have studied, right? The same reference. So when you are passing by value, the copy of the actual object will be created inside the function. So whenever you are passing by the reference, so like it is, you are passing the address. So any changes which you are making inside this function will be reflected in the actual object also. So that is the difference between pass by value and pass by reference. For example, for example, I'll create one object called demo a comma b. I've created two objects, demo a and b. So now I'm calling this function sum of a comma b. So this is passed by value. So the value of a will be copied to d1. So d1 will contain the copy. See, the value of the whatever is the value of a, that will be copied to d1, and d2 will contain the copy of b. So any changes which you are making to d1 and d2 will not get affected with a and b, because you're just copying the things and then you're performing the operation. So any changes which you're making to d1 and d2 will not be reflected in a and b. But if you are passing by value, if you are passing by, this is the passing by value. But if you are passing by reference means, if you are passing by reference means it is like uh, you are passing the address of this object. So address of this object means it will contain only a single copy. Any changes which you are making in d1 will get reflected in a. Any change which you are making in b2, sorry, d2 will get reflected in b. So this is that one primary difference. So pass by value means copy, pass by reference means a single it's a single reference, and the changes will reflect in A and B as well. So this is the thing. Um, this is the thing. So one example will write, one example of passing an object. So I'll write one class called sum. I'll write one class called sum. So for this, I'll just take one variable. I'll take it as variable a. So after this, I'll create a function called add function. So add function for this, I'm passing the object. I'm passing the object as the parameter, and then I'll just write um, object dot variable is equal to object dot variable plus 100. So that's all. Then I will just print out. I'll just print out object dot variable name, variable name. So after this, I'll just close the classes, and I will create a main function. I'll create a main function. I'll create a main function, and here also first I'll create the object sum s1. So again I have to call this function. I have to call this function. So how to call this function means uh, first mm, s1 dot add. So I can call this function with s1 dot add of, I have to pass the object. So I have to pass the object. I have to pass the object. So passing the object, no. So that's also, this is how you can pass. This is how you can pass that. So before passing, I will access this variable and I'll give some value s1 dot a. Some initial value I'll give it as 500. I'll give it as 500. So after this, here I'm passing this, and this the object will be copied to yes, and it will calculate s1 dot a. It is 500. 500 plus 100 will be 600. So that will be the output. But um, this is the way in which you are um, passing the object as a parameter to the function. So the same program also um, even you can even you can pass by reference also. If you want to pass by reference means you just need to add the ampersand symbol. So if you're adding the ampersand symbol, so you're passing by the reference. So this is one thing in uh, what do we call objects, like functions and objects. So this is your passing as a parameter. Sometimes the function can also um, return the object also. It can return the object also. For example, like after calculating s dot a, even it can return the object return yes. And also here it will be of the type sum. So it is not only that you can pass the object as a parameter, even you can make a function with the return type as the object also. Even the functions can return objects. So um, that is the point which I wanted to tell. So it is not only that the functions will accept objects as the parameter. Even it can return objects also. Even it can return objects as the parameter. So here the last line can be like return what is object name. Yes. So this is if you write like this, it is more than sufficient. Here instead of here you can write it as some object, no, some s2 is equal to s1 dot add, like that you can write. So what I wanted to tell is, you can, for a function, it can accept the parameters as objects, and also it can also return the objects as the return type. So these two things are the same way. So the same way, like the normally a function called add function. I'll just take this simple example. It can accept integer as the parameter, and even it can return integer as the return type. So the same thing, instead of data types, here I'm passing the object as the parameter, and even I'm returning the object as the return type. So that's all. So that is the thing. So this completes um, the C++ concepts related to object-oriented concept. From next class onwards, I'll start with Java. So tomorrow, third hour, I'll be talking about the introduction. I'll be talking about the introduction to Java, like who invented Java, what are the features of Java, why you need Java, why you need to study Java. So those things I'll talk in tomorrow's class. So this completes your C++ concepts relate in object-oriented uh, programming. So from next class onwards, we'll talk about Java. So one thing is like the concepts will get repeated. So again, the same thing will start. Here also we started with uh, data types, variables, types of variables. The same way, there also we will start with the introduction to Java, a simple hello world program in how to write a hello world program in Java, then basic data types in Java, um, types of variables in Java, keywords in Java, then conditional statements in Java. How do you write arrays in Java? How do you write for loop in Java, for each loop, object-oriented programming concepts, inheritance, abstraction, encapsulation, um, how it is implemented in Java. So like this. So whatever you have studied in C, the constructors in Java, C++, whatever you have studied in C++, the same things will get repeated and few more concepts will get added up. Multi-threaded programming will come, exception handling will come, packages will come, interfaces will come. So these are the additional topics rather than the one which you have studied in C++. So the next class will start with Java. So I'll stop the class now. Any doubt with respect to today's class? Any doubt? Any doubt? Yes or no?
No, sir.
Okay, okay. So I'll stop the class now. We'll start with tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll start with Java.
Sir, can we know the IA portion?
IA